Welcome back to LearnPianoLive.com. My name is Jamin, and as you can tell from the countdown clock, the lesson is about to get started. In case you're new with this, there's a few things I'd like to show you to help you throughout the lesson. So this lesson is about reharmonization. That means we're going to take an existing song and we're going to find new chords to play over the same melody. Now, that means that you're probably going to need to already know about chords and keys and probably intervals, and probably have already several songs that you can play well enough that they actually sound like the song. But even if you can't do that, you might pick up some interesting theory bits along the way. So feel free to join us. The goal, though, is not this song. It's not about the song that we're working on. It's really about taking the concepts you like, the reharmonizations, the substitutions that you like from this lesson, and then applying them to other songs that you already know how to play. These lessons are always guided and shaped by your questions, and if you're live with us today, there's a couple different ways you can do that. One is in the public live chat, and the other is the Ask Jamin a Question button, where you can ask me a question privately, and I won't share your identity in case you're afraid that your question is stupid. But it's not. If you're in the archives, though, then just open up the survey. At the end of that, there's a place where you can ask your question. I will say I frequently get questions from students in the archives watching a lesson from 6 months ago, and I have no idea what they're talking about. So please try to be as specific as possible. If you're watching this at LearnPianoLive.com, there should be a PDF and an MP3 button right next to this video. The PDF will often have additional video links inside, so you can get more in-depth instruction on each of the topics. And if you're the kind of person who likes to print out the PDF so you can make the same notes on your physical version as I'm making during the lesson, now would be the time to do that. The MP3 is just a play-along track so you can practice more after the lesson. In traditional lessons, a teacher is going to actually present some new concept for maybe 5 or 10 minutes every couple weeks. The rest of the time is going to be spent applying and refining those concepts. Well, here I'm spouting off hours of new information every week, so it's totally unreasonable to expect you to actually absorb all of that. Instead, the goal of these live lessons is for you to find some little nugget of something that makes sense, but is a bit of a challenge, and for you to go practice it, because practice is where all the improvement's going to happen. So don't feel bad if you have to leave the live lesson when you find that little thing that you're going to practice. And of course, if I'm going too fast, you can always rewind the live lessons or replay in the archives as much as you want. If these live lessons start feeling random or meandering, it's because they are, on purpose. So if you're the kind of person who wants classical training with a step-by-step method, then you're going to want to check out Kloppel Academy on the website. It's included in your live lesson subscription, so you can do both or either. And the upper levels are seriously hard work, but it's going to take you all the way from ground zero all the way up to being ready to enter any major music college as a piano major in classical or jazz. And thankfully, I think that's about all we need to cover before the lesson. So if you'd stick around afterwards and fill out the survey, I would love your feedback. But for now, let's have some fun and make some music. Welcome back to LearnPianoLive.com. My name is Jamin, and I think today, while we are reharming Blackbird, usually we do this little spinning wheel thing over here from the website, but I think today we're going to do kind of what we did last time, where we take one concept and we just try to work that through, because when we do the random thing, we don't always get to all the more in-depth concepts. So today we're going to be talking about inversions and slash chords and stuff like that as we try to reharm this thing. But where we need to start is where we ended last week, which was the tutorial, playing the chords, being able to just comp behind like a vocalist or an instrumentalist who is singing or playing this melody. So we've got Kendra doing the vocals for this track, and we need to be able to start with this.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise.
That's where we ended last week. That's the right way. And today we're going to talk about what we can do to make this thing sound a little more unique. And then this is not going to sound like, this is not going to sound better. So a reharmed version is not like the original, but better. There's a really good chance that, especially if you like this song or if you've heard this song before, what we do today is going to sound wrong, especially if you've not done one of these reharms before. They usually just start off sounding weird, but that's what we're going for today, is trying to find out what all the weird flavors and colors are out there, and maybe find some use for them in the future, even if we don't like them on Blackbird. And a lot of times I end up liking what we do with them on the songs we're working on anyway. So without further ado, let's talk about slash chords. So we kind of touched on this in the tutorial when we were talking about this chord right here. So this is a G over B. So in case you don't remember, usually whenever we have a G chord in the right hand, we have a G as our bass. So if it just says G chord, that'd be like that guy right there. A G chord with a G in the bass. So that's like your bass player, like literally your bass guitar player. And this would be like your guitarist or whoever's playing the chords. And you're doing both of them as a pianist, the chord and the bass line. But occasionally we don't want the bass player to play the same thing as the chord player. And the chord player usually isn't playing it just like that anyway, unless they're on piano and relatively beginner-ish, I would say. Usually it's going to be voiced differently. So those G's, B's, and D's are going to be in a different order. So maybe it's just G, B, and D. Or if it's on guitar, it's probably going to look something like more like that or like that. More spread out. Yeah, that might be something on guitar. So anyway, they're going to be kind of spread out, and then the bass player gets to play whatever they want to play. So a G is most common for a G chord, but we could also, on a G chord, play a G or a B or a D. So in this case, we're playing the B of the G chord. So that's a G over B. Guitarist, pianist, play the G. Bass player, play the B. That's what this thing is about right here. Now, technically, this one is not what would be considered a slash chord, like in a music theory class, because the bass player is still playing one of the notes of the chord. So technically a slash chord is where the bass player is playing something that's not even part of the chord. Like instead of playing a G or a B or a D, it played like an F. So this would be like a G over F. That would be like a more legit slash chord. But a lot of times these ones are called slash chords because there's a slash in it. G slash B means G over B. And so that, like in a music theory class, we would just call this G in first inversion, because having the root on the bottom means that it's in root position. If we have the next note up in the bass, then it's first inversion, and then the bottom note, if it's the third note in the chord, or the 5 of the chord, then that is called second inversion. If you got questions about that, let me know. I'll be watching the chat room. Or you can tell me in the archives if you're not watching this live with us. So we got root position, first inversion, second inversion, G, G over B, G over D. None of those are technically slash chords yet. That's a G over F. That sounds terrible out of context, but it will sound absolutely awesome in context. And that's a legit slash chord, G over F. So if we just start considering here, okay, so just because our chord is something and our right hand is playing that something, we don't have to do that same something with the left hand. We can kind of move it around wherever we want. We can experiment wherever we want. So then if I was just thinking about this as a bass player, I'd be thinking about G, A, B, G, C, C sharp, D. This is literally what my left hand was playing a second ago. E flat, E, E flat, D, C sharp, C, C, B, A, D, G. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, we got a lot of movement that's like kind of stepwise-ish. The places we don't have that, maybe this would be irritating right here. Moving from a B to a G and then to a C. That's not very stepwise. And kind of the cool part about this song is that the whole thing is like really stepwise and chromatic. The melody is not ba 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 ba. It's a lot of the same note over and over, and there's big jumps in there. But the left hand part, the bass part, is the part that makes the whole thing feel like it's just kind of like transforming over time instead of like jumping from chord to chord to chord. So this thing right here, that move, B to G to C, I'm not really digging that. I think I would rather go like B or G, A, B, B, C. Now again, this is not a better way to play the Beatles song. This is just a different consideration as we're going through these chords. So if there's a way to play another B there, that'd be cool. Or if I could just add in another note. Probably not between B and C because there's nothing there in Western music and not on the piano. But I could go like that. So blackbird singing in the dead of night, take these broken. So I could do that if we did that along with Kendra. Let's see, we do something like blackbird singing in the dead of night, take. Let's try that and see what that sounds like.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly.
Let me try that again. Sounds weird. Blackbird singing in the dead. I think I want major 7 there. Blackbird singing in the dead. Maybe just a regular B flat chord right there. That's just a regular triad. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn. Yeah, maybe I'll try that. Okay, here we go.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly.
Yeah, kind of the more I hear it, the more I like it.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly.
Man, I think we can make that work.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly.
Yeah, okay, cool. So then that's one idea. You might not like that one, but that would be solving this problem of B to G to C, if you want to call that a problem. Another option might be to jump over the C temporarily and then come bass to it. So that's another thing bass players like to do is if we're going from G, A, B, and we have a C, and we realize, oh no, I need an extra note, but I don't have another note, we'll just go past the C and then come back to that. So that would be more like blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these. Now this one's gonna sound less weird because we still get that G chord. It's just a G over D now. So that's probably gonna sound more normal and less revolutionary.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Personally, I like the flavor of that B flat in there. Yeah, I like that a lot. Anyway, the other place the bass doesn't really like move stepwise. Learn to fly all your life. You are only waiting for this moment to arise. Yeah. A to G to G. A, D, G. Man. So then this would be cool if, like, instead of going from A up to D, down to G, we had a note between A and G. I don't know, say like an A flat would be cool. We could go A to A flat to G. Now I'm gonna play the same chords in, I haven't changed the chords on any of these so far. I'm just playing something different in the bass. So I'm gonna try all that same stuff, but you were only waiting for this moment to, man, yeah. I think I'm gonna like that in context. It sounds terrible like that, but I think I'm gonna like it. Okay, so my two things are this G over B flat. Technically, probably if I was playing, I wouldn't play that. I'd just change it to a G minor. But we're just talking about the bass line right now. So that is a little bit conflicting. We could probably get away with it. I'm changing that one, and then the other one that I'm changing is the D7 over A flat, which is kind of turning into like an A flat major 7 into a G. So those are my two changes so far. I've only made two changes, and both of them were not changes that I wanted to make, but just changes that were based on what is the bass line doing, what would be convenient. Here we go.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise.
Man, I'm digging that. So, one more time.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise.
Ooh. Anyway, so that's one idea, is just take your bass and say, where do I wish this was different, and then try it different. It might turn out great in both places. Okay, so then other things we can do are that have to do with inversions and pedal tones. Yeah, sure, slash chords, pedal tones. So this time I'm just going to only play a G. This would be probably considered a pedal tone in some classes. And so just only a G, I'm still gonna have these other chords going on up here, but I think that by playing a G all the way through, it should kind of draw the chords back to home. So no matter how far I get away it kind of is saying, don't worry, we're coming back to this one right here. And it might sound kind of cool. Let's try it.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise.
And actually, in the original recording, that's kind of what's going on there. There's like one note that keeps droning on and on and on and on and on. And that drone is, I believe it's a G. I can't play the track here, or else they'll copyright strike me. But it's just one single note all the way through. If it's not the 1 of the key, a lot of times it's the 5 of the key that's just droning on through the whole entire thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 of G is D. And so if I just play all the same exact chords, but I'm just hang on to a D here, this to me gives the opposite feeling of droning the 1 of the key. So the 1 kind of brings everything back to home, and this thing right here, droning the 5, kind of makes sure that nothing ever gets settled, because even if we get to our last chord, our final chord, this should be like home base. With this 5, this D in the bass, it doesn't really feel like it's home. It's like there's still some other work to be done. Let me show you.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise.
So just droning that 5, like the song still isn't done, surely, because we still have this 5 that we're hearing. And we're not going to really feel settled until we have a 1 chord with a 1 in the bass. Okay, so there's another idea, is just droning those. And then there's one more idea before we get into this random stuff, is just trying, like, in the same way that we have this G over B, which is a chord over the 3 of it, we could try that, or over the 5 of any of these chords. Personally, I really like the A over the 3 right here of the A, because that's the note that goes outside of the key, because the key is supposed to be the key of G. But when we get to that A chord, it's got a note that's outside of it. So as a bass player, generally, I'd be like, ooh, there's a note that's outside of the key, but I don't get to play it. I still have to play this stupid A. And so I'd go ahead and like throw in one of those on a lot of occasions, just because I kind of feel left out if I don't get to play all of the cool, fun notes. So now I'm going to try some of these where I'm not playing the root of the chord. I'm just playing the 3 of the chord. Might sound something like this.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise.
Okay, so that's just a bunch of 3s of those chords. I probably played too many of them, but it's kind of fun. And then what you end up doing is if you do that with a whole bunch of chords in a row, you'll end up finding out, well, hang on, I'm just actually just playing all these chords in inversion. So if I played this one with a 3 right there, then that's kind of cool. It's just a G and a B and a D. And I was only supposed to play a G and a B and a D. You can just play the chords, the triads, but have your root be like, instead of a blocked chord, just take the middle note and out and play it there. So if we were playing like Blackbird singing in the dead of night, take these broken wings and learn to fly. Like, we just play that, but I take out the second highest note and play it down here. We can come up with something like Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. Where am I? All your life, you're only waiting for this moment to arise. So that was just playing all those chords, but instead of playing a blocked chord, I take out the second note, and second highest note, and put it down here. So then, along with her singing, it might sound something like this.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise.
Okay, cool. So this is a way of like playing inversions, but now it's not, in my mind at least, it's not really inversions. It's just playing the chord and stealing one of the notes out and putting it down here. So, you know, it looks like inversions, and it looks like I've got this really like complicated, like, oh, what inversion was that? What inversion was that? I'm just thinking about a blocked chord up here and stealing one of the notes and playing down here. And then there's other stuff, just exploring what other kinds of bass movements you could have. So, you know, in general, circle of fifths stuff is going to sound pretty cool. That all is right down here. Oh, it's not as far as I thought. So going counterclockwise, yes, that's how a clock works. Counterclockwise through this circle of fifths, a C is going to lead to an F, which is going to lead to a B flat, which is going to lead to an E flat, which is going to lead to an A flat. If you've already done the circle of fifths, that made some sense. If not, it just means if you're wanting movement, instead of going, oh, well, let's go up by a half step, or let's go up by a whole step, just going, well, let's go by perfect fourth up or perfect fifth down, depending on how you want to see it. So instead of going C, D, E, maybe going something that would lead into E, like F sharp, B, E. Okay, if that didn't make sense and you wish it did, we got lots of lessons in which we do that. In fact, most of our regular reharm lessons use a lot of circle of fifths movements. And then other things would just be like trying random other things. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you're only waiting for this moment. Oh, we already did that one. To arise. So this is just like thinking about. We didn't even do that. Ooh. Okay.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise.
Anyway, it gets a little bit silly here, but I think the point stands that you can try pretty much anything, and then you know, if you don't like it, cool. Now you know. Throw it out. Keep all the stuff that you do like. But let's see here. Reviewing what we did today, we talked about what an inversion was, how an inversion is different from a slash chord. And then we talked about playing inversions underneath chords, thinking about the bass movement and trying to make that as smooth as possible, and just changing the bass, regardless of what the chord was. You can play a D7 over an A flat, and even though that sounds terrible, in context, you're only waiting for your moment to arise. It might sound really cool. So thinking about the bass line primarily and doing cool things with that, and then thinking about the chord primarily and just playing inversions of that. That turned into, if we take that note out of the top hand, that's kind of an easy way to think about inversions, or at least an easy way for some people, the way they're thinking about chords. Instead of playing the chord up here, we just take out the second highest note and put it down here. And that usually comes up with some pretty cool voicings too. And then we talked about just experimenting with, pedal tones too. Mostly the 1, that'll draw everything back to the 1, or mostly the 5, that'll keep everything kind of suspended and motion-y. And then also just experimenting with random bass movements. That seems like plenty of inversion and slash chord stuff to work with. If you want me to explain any of that a little bit further, then let me know. Otherwise, go take one of those concepts and apply it to one of the songs that you're working on. Send me a video of that or ask me questions about the stuff that you're working on, because I don't really care about Blackbird that much. I mean, I love the song, but as far as you, I don't care if you like Blackbird or not. I want to hear you doing things that you're excited about. That's why I'm here. So yeah, let's work together on some of this stuff. Till next time, go explore, mess up, have fun, rock on, friends.